Hey folks, alright, so I made a few notes for this video. Thanksgiving this year is going to be far more expensive than previous years. Probably one of the most expensive years since 2015, if not all the way back to 1930, 1940. There are multiple news articles in the online that I want to read over a couple of them. I'm just going to touch on a few points. The first was an article on NBC News that was titled, "Expect to pay a lot more for Thanksgiving this year thanks to food inflation." And some of the points from this article. The cost of all food climbed 11.2% in September over a year ago. And this particular article broke it down over several different food products. Leading the food price increases. Margarine is up 44%. Flour and prepared flour mixes up 24.2%. Frozen and refrigerated bakery products up 20.4%. A collective category of meats, poultry, fish, and eggs collectively is up about 9%. Eggs alone is up about 31% over a year ago. Now, a year and a half ago, a dozen eggs in my grocery store cost me anywhere from 89 cents to $1.19, depending on the store I went to. Now, that same dozen eggs cost me $4.99 a dozen. Moving on. Milk up 15.2%. Bread up 14.7%. Rice up 13.6%. Fresh fruit up 8.2%. Cakes, cupcakes, and cookies up an average of 16%. Uncooked turkey prices up 17%. Processed fruits and vegetables. These are your canned veggies. Up 16%. Fresh, boneless, skinless turkey breast. I never buy that unless it's like sliced for sandwiches, things like that. But fresh, boneless, skinless turkey breast reached a record $6.70 a pound in September, 112% higher than 2021 when prices were $3.16 a pound. Let me read that one again. Fresh, boneless, skinless turkey breast reached a record $6.70 a pound in September, 112% higher than 2021 when prices were $3.16 a pound. The next article that I want to go over is from CNBC. Turkey prices are 73% higher than last year and might stay that way through Thanksgiving. The ongoing spread of bird flu will likely affect the price and availability of turkeys this Thanksgiving. Right now, the price per pound of an 8 to 16 pound turkey is $1.99, up from $1.15 last year, according to the USDA data. This is a 73% increase. Bird flu typically spreads in the colder months of the year, but this year producers were reporting cases in July. The last outbreak was in 2015 when turkey prices were extremely elevated and affected about 50 million birds. Already this year, 47.6 million birds have been affected, and the flu has been detected in 42 states. Now, to control the spread of this flu, growers must kill the entire flock. And flocks usually contain about 15,000 birds. For turkeys, for chickens, that number would be considerably higher because they're a smaller animal and you can fit more of them in a given space. From January to July, 5.4 million birds were killed. So those are some concerning articles. Excuse me, folks. Now, I want to go over some things that I've seen in my local stores. Normally this time of the year, we see bins full of turkeys in our local stores. Bins full of turkeys, the plastic insulated cooler bins that come in on the trucks. They'll usually set them out on the floor full of turkeys. The coolers will usually be full of turkeys. I've been to multiple stores, four different stores, 4 different chains, and I've been to 2 different stores from the same chain. So I've probably been to about 6 to 7 different stores, actually, to be honest with you, looking over the turkey situation. I have not seen a single turkey in this area. Normally by this time, they're everywhere. And they usually run anywhere from 69 cents a pound to $1.29 a pound. Again, I haven't seen a single turkey. Not a single frozen turkey. Normally at this time, we also see a large amount of hams. You know, the ones in the purple or the red or the blue or the gold foil, the spiral cut hams. Normally we have a lot of those. Out of all the stores that I've been to, the only store that I've seen that has them is Walmart. And that Walmart, the one time that I saw them, had less than 10. Now, they did have a few of the ones that are in the clear wrappers, whatever brands those are. They probably had 8 to 10 of those. So less than 2 dozen in that store. And I haven't seen them in any other store. I went by one grocery store the other day. It's from the Little Giant chain. They didn't have any. I went by another one of their locations, a different store. They didn't have any. They didn't have any ham. They didn't have any turkeys. So normally these things would be in stock right now in my area. There's none available anywhere that I've found. Except for Walmart that did have, like I said, less than 2 dozen hams. I went ahead and got one. The price was a lot higher. I'd probably say about 15% higher than what I paid last year. So be on the lookout. I always try to buy my turkeys and my hams early anyway, because I know there's usually a rush on them. I don't want to be waiting till the last minute. So I go ahead and buy mine early and get them out of the way and just shove them in the freezer. So when I saw those at Walmart, I went ahead and grabbed me a ham. I normally have turkey for Thanksgiving, but since I couldn't find any, I went ahead and got a ham. I'm glad I did now that I'm having so much trouble. Oh, excuse me, folks. I'm sorry. Now that I'm having so much trouble finding any. But this is an indication that a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford what they normally get for Thanksgiving. And even if you can afford it, or even if you can find it, you might not be able to find it, but even if you can find it, are you going to be able to afford it or not? You could be shelling out a good bit of money, and with inflation affecting everything else, it's just an added strain on your bank account that a lot of people can't afford right now. So this is what I suggest. Assuming you can. If you can't, there's no fault on you, but if you can swing getting an extra ham or an extra turkey, consider getting one. And I'll tell you why. What you can do is, instead of shoving that thing in your freezer and then run the risk of your freezer going out during a power outage. Man, I don't know why I can't stop yawning today. I'm sorry, folks. I really am. I just didn't sleep good last night. Anyway, if you can afford to get an extra ham or an extra turkey, and you have the capability to can, or to pressure can specifically, get you one and pressure can both of them in mason jars and put them up in your cabinet. They'll last a year to a year and a half in a jar, some maybe even longer, depends on who you talk to. Pressure canning is safe. There's no reason to be scared of it, so long as you follow the proper instructions. And the benefit to pressure canning is that it's already cooked. If necessary, you can dump it out and eat it as is, or you can heat it up in a pot by a fire. But if you put these things in a freezer, both of these, a ham or a turkey, take up a massive amount of space. And then you've got to worry about taking it out of the freezer and trying to cook it, which for a ham doesn't take that long, but for a turkey can take half a day or more. That's a lot of space taken up in your freezer, and that's a lot of time and energy put into cooking. If you get extras, if you're able to, and you have the capability to dividing these up into mason jars and canning them solves two problems. One, that's that much space that you don't have taken up in your freezer, so you can free that space up for other things. And two, it's already cooked, so it'll need minimal cooking or heating up in the event that there's a power outage or just things get really, really bad. So if possible, I would highly recommend getting an extra ham or an extra turkey, deboning them, cook the turkey and debone it, and then can it up and process it in mason jars. That being said, everything else that goes along with Thanksgiving dinner is going up too. It's more expensive as well. So this year you might have to make adjustments. You might not have the specific dishes that you normally would have. You might have to improvise and make do. But this is an indication of what's going to be coming later this year and into next year. Our food chain is extremely weakened right now, strained to the breaking point. Inflation has driven costs up way more than what most mainstream media would admit to. So if they're telling you 8, 10, 12%, I think you could safely double that number and still be fairly accurate. So whatever inflation number they're giving you, you can probably at least double it. The CPI numbers came out for September, and inflation overall was at 11.2%, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, Biden and his administration are cheering, talking about it's coming down, it's coming down. Yeah, it's come down 0.1% over the previous month, and that month came down 0.1% over that month. So I don't consider a 0.1% drop to be an improvement. This is the things that we need to get ready for. This is why you need to be stocking food. And I understand there's a lot of people struggling to even put food on the table right now. And I'm going to be coming out with a couple of videos on how to do things cheaper. It's not going to be the best way to do things. It's not going to be the best meals, the best food choices, but it'll be food. The best nutrition and value, the quality is not going to be there. I'm going to be upfront with you. But when you're scraping pennies together just to get one meal on the table. You have to do what you have to do. So I will be coming out with a couple of videos on that. But for those that can't afford to buy food right now, even if you can only spare an extra $5 or $10 every paycheck to buy food to put back, if you only have an extra $5 or $10, start putting something back. I don't care if it's a 1 pound bag of beans, a 1 pound bag of dried beans, and a can of diced tomatoes. I don't care if it's spaghetti sauce and a pack of noodles, half a dozen cans of green beans or butter beans or Great Northern or whatever it is you eat. Put back whatever you can. Anything you possibly can, put it back. If all you can get is one of those little cans of chunk chicken and a 1 pound bag of rice, put that back. It may not seem like much, but I promise you, it will add up. You do this long enough, it will add up. You're running out of time. Things are getting so expensive now, and I don't see the prices coming down anytime soon. In fact, the only thing I see is more price increases the further out we go. So you're better off starting now. Even if you can only spend $5 a paycheck now, pick something. Grab a couple of extra cans. If you buy 2 cans of green beans or 2 cans of baked beans or 2 cans of pork and beans, try to get 3, try to get 4. If you buy 1 item of this, try to get an extra one. You don't have to spend $50, $60 in one trip to buy food to put back. Like I said, if you can only spend $2 to $5, $10, $4, there's something you can buy with that $2 or $4 or whatever. There's something you can buy for that you can put back in a 5-gallon bucket and snap a lid on it and set it back for emergencies. It's critical that you do this now. I know things are expensive. I know money is tight for a lot of people, and people are struggling. But think about it this way. The price is only going to continue to climb. It's going to get higher. Buying it now means you bought it when it was cheaper. 3-4 weeks from now, you might say to yourself, well, I wish I bought that back then when it was 5 cents cheaper, 10 cents cheaper, 15 cents cheaper. Do that now when you can. It doesn't matter how much you can get or how little. Every little bit will help you. And again, I'm going to be coming out with a few videos talking about giving you some ideas, some ways to cut corners. There's not a lot that can be done right now as far as buying cheap. Buying cheap is in the past. Right now, you just have to do the best you can. But it's critical that you start prepping now if you haven't already. And if you have been prepping, continue to prep. I mean, we're not in the growing season right now. But in a lot of areas, it's hunting season. If you can get out and hunt, I highly recommend you do that. If you know a bunch of hunters, talk to them. See if they're willing to barter with you, trade you some meat for something you have an excess of, or something a skill you're good at. Offer a skill in trade. You never know. The worst they can do is say no. And the best case scenario, you might get a few pounds of meat in exchange for something that you don't really need, or something that you know how to do for a little bit of your time. That would be one way of getting around it. But Prep now. Time is running out. Everybody's been saying prep, prep, prep for years and years now. That hard times were coming, things were going to get bad, and you were going to need it. You're running out of time, I'm telling you. You can still prep, but it's not going to be cheap like it used to be. It's not going to be easy like it used to be. It's getting harder, getting more expensive. And the longer you put it off, the harder it's going to be and the more expensive it's going to be. So keep that in mind, folks. That's all I've got for right now. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. I'll get some more videos out as fast as I possibly can. And until next time, folks, just keep prepping. That's all I can say. Take care, and until next time, I'll catch you later.